Women in Maritime and Energy Award, we're just trying to bridge the gap between the energy and the maritime sector through the women, because behind every engine and behind every wave, there is a woman doing wonderful work behind the scene. So let's just go to the slide. You can see a wonderful picture over there. You can see Miss Yeson. She's CEO of the Upstream right now, and last year she was awarded with her counterpart, Dr. Mrs. Chinwe Ezenwa. We are a pioneering platform established in 2022. WIME Awards is not a community of women like every other. I'm a member of WIOG and WIME, but we are not a community of an association. Is a groundbreaking recognition and advocacy platform dedicated to celebrating the achievements of women in historically male-dominated sectors. Our focus spans Nigeria with a strategic vision for Africa-wide impact. So, the first of its kind, we are actually #1, the premier platform for this kind of advocacy. Nigeria's premier awards for women in maritime and energy, endorsed by the UN Women, were endorsed by the UN Women in 2023, solidifying our mission. Strategic focus. We are rooted in Nigeria with aspirations for Africa-wide position. Thank you. Our vision and core values. Our vision is to foster excellence, recognition and advocacy for women in maritime and energy sectors across Africa. And then the mission is to champion excellence and build robust female-powered connections throughout the entire maritime and energy value chain. This is a very critical sector. There are so many things that bind energy and maritime and cannot be overlooked. And women have been doing a whole lot within that sector. So our core values is worthy, influence, mastery, and excellence. We recognize inherent value. Even we mentor budding women, the girl child, empowering change, promoting expertise, and striving for the highest standards. We're talking about capacity building and competence. So every woman that is developed will have to replicate her kind, her type, so that the chain doesn't break. Access is very important. Guidance is very important. Mentorship and coaching is critical. Somebody said that your network is a network. You can't afford to be in the energy or maritime sector and not mingle. And retire and then sit at home. You'll be wondering what you are going to do with all those knowledge that you gathered over the years. Purpose and with measurable impact. Women partnerships go beyond event visibility to supporting leadership recognition, inclusion, mentorship, governance training, and long-term sector development. Long-term, we're looking at long-term. With brand alignment and thought leadership. With partners are positioned alongside excellent leadership and forward-thinking industry narrative that resonates across the sectors. And so this is the last. So these are our sponsors and these are partners.
Thank you very much for taking the time to visit us as an organization, and it is not something that we take lightly for you to devote your time to us. And as you were presenting, I was thinking of the relevance of your organization even in today's space, because when you look at our oil and gas industry even today, a lot of our evacuation is actually challenged, and you might not be aware or not aware that a lot of them is actually moving via the maritime space.
Yeah,
the trunk line is down, so many lines have been down, and now it is through transportation using barge dealing with organizations like NASA.
Yes.
So I think it further shows the closeness of the energy industry to the maritime industry in terms of a mutually dependent relationship, which I think is in place. And for our organization, we don't talk a lot, but the concept of, and people will talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion as a fad, but for us it is embedded into our DNA as an organization.
It's so obvious.
Under the leadership of our group managing director, Mr. Stephen Fade, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, we have positioned women and intend to further position women into leadership positions, not because of a quota, but because they're equally competent when they need the opportunity to be in that position. And I'm not saying it I don't say these things just to feed people, but it is something that as an organization, if our group managing director, Mr. Sefade, is here, you will hear him say the same thing, that we need to be able to have women sit at the same table. They should not be sitting at the second row. They're equally as competent. They just need the opportunity to prove themselves. Sometimes, it takes a while, because if you have not groomed someone for leadership, it takes them a while to assume that position, but the patience must be there. And I'm not saying this for them to take me up on it, but the truth is, I was in a late conversation yesterday, and we were talking about the fact that when you have a woman that occupies a position versus a man, you would find the woman to be a lot more reliable. It is, and that is why organizations like yours are continuing to foster the encouragement and growth of women in the industry is very important. I'm not a believer in token system. I'm not a believer in that if they're not competent, put them there because she's a female. No. But I do say, give them the same training opportunity, give them the same exposure, and they will perform just as well.
Yeah. I remember then when we go for meetings, if I hardly see women sitting at the table, most of the time it's just sitting at the back. There were very few women there. You could count us. The places where you find a lot of women is in the non-technical section. So, but at these days, it so gladdens my heart. And what we're telling women is, this thing is not about competition with the men. We're not competing.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much.
Just like she was speaking, let me not take her from her mouth, but just work-life balance.
We will appeal to our management to find a decent level of sponsorship for the demo. Be rest assured we will support you.